Hello everyone and welcome back. Welcome once again to design analysis. In this video we are going to be breaking down a design as promised. So let's get right into it. So I decided to go with this simple skirt design. I think it is simple enough for us to start with. Over time we'll slowly progress into more complex designs, right? Like I explained in the intro episode, if you haven't watched that, please do watch it. We'll be breaking down this design under the following elements. The first thing to do is to ask the question, what can I see? So at first glance, of course, what can we see? We can see a skirt, and we can see that it has two main features or two layers. Let me grab my pen. It has two layers. We have this first layer and we have this upper layer, which is a peplum, right? So what kind of silhouette do you think this garment has? If I were to draw an outline of this layer, that will give me an A-line silhouette. It is a moderate A-line skirt. It is not overly wide, but of course this fold right here tells us that there's an extra fullness that is added to that moderate A-line silhouette, right? Good. So for the silhouette, we say it is A-line, right? Then the fabric. What about the fabric? Obviously this is a textured fabric. If I'm to make a guess, I'll guess that it is a brocade or jacquard kind of fabric, maybe a polyester jacquard blend, something like that. But obviously it's a structured fabric that holds up shape very well, right? So why is that important? It is important because if you're making this pattern, you know that for heavy fabric, the heavier the fabric, the less volume you need to add. Now I'm talking about the peplum. I'm talking about this upper part that you'll be adding the gathers. So the heavier the fabric, the less volume you need to add, because it will create the structure on its own, right? So fabric, it is a textured fabric. So moving on, let's move on to the symmetry. So this is a symmetrical design, obviously, because if you were to run a line in right in the middle, you'll see that what you have on the left is what you have on the right? So it is symmetrical, but we should also note that what we have an uneven hemline right here. So pay attention to that. Okay, so we have a symmetrical design. Right, then the construction. Obviously this is a skirt, so we won't be talking about necklines, but what about the waistline? This is a normal waistline. You can see it is not built up, it is just at the normal waistline, and a straight band is added into the waistline, right? And what about the dart? The dart has been transferred, the waist dart has been transferred into the fullness, so that is what gives you the A-line pattern. So with extra fullness on this front part. So the dart is in the fullness. Dart in fullness. So what pattern or what basic block will you need for this to make this kind of garment? Obviously you'll need your skirt block. Okay, so your skirt sloper, your basic block, it will, if you have a sloper, it will probably be of knee length, right, or above knee length, depending on how you stored yours. And then all you have to do is just trace it out and extend it. Okay, so now of course you will have to do some guesstimation. So what you need is a basic skirt block, right? So some guesstimation for you to know where to outline. You can see, so I decided to include a croquis, so to see how the skirts might look like in real time. So this is the waistline, right? And then this is about the crotch line. So you know this, then this is if you guesstimate this, that's about a quarter length from here to here for you to just guesstimate. And this is the knee, and then if you were to check from the knee to the ankle, this is about 1/3. Okay, So just do those kind of guesstimations, and then you will know how to mark it out on your pattern when drafting. So now let's get to the patterning. Yeah, so this is what your pattern will look like. So first, get your basic skirt. I don't have the back piece for this design. Okay, I will only assume that the back will obviously be of the same silhouette with the front, and maybe the extra fullness that we see here, this extra fullness, so maybe this extra fullness that we see here will not be included, because most times the eye-catching details are usually on the front piece alone. Okay, so I'm just guessing. Okay, and then this peplum that is added will go all the way to the back and stop right at this point too, at the back or before there, because you can see that this looks like it is unfold. This side looks like it is unfold. So that means you need to trace the back piece of this peplum and join it at the side so it will be unfold, and then you now slash and spread to add this volume. So back to the pattern. So I'm just going to show details of the front only. So for the pattern, you need the front piece, then you can outline all the length that you need on your front piece, right? And then get to transferring this waist dart into the fullness to give you that fullness. Okay, so once you do that, you've closed up your darts into the fullness. You have this, and then you can now trace out the peplum, right? Trace out the peplum. This is the front. You can do the same for the back. This is the front, and this will be the back piece. So when you add it together, this will be the side, here will be the side. Okay, and then you can now slash and spread and then gather back, right, to give you that. And of course you can see from the picture that the peplum too has uneven hemline too. Okay, so then you are going to introduce again the extra volume that is in the front. This fold right here gives that away. Okay, so that is the extra volume that is in the front. So you slash again one more time to give you that, and then don't forget the details of the hemline, and you have that here, this detail right here. Okay, and then so if you're patterning, that means you need to add paper to keep it in place, and then through the hemline, so you don't have a weird shape, through the hemline, and then of course a straight band for the skirt band, and at the end of it all you have something like this for your pattern. So that will be it for this video. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, kindly share and subscribe. Before I forget, the teaser, yes, so in this episode we were able to break down a structured skirt design, right? And in this same video we learned about adding volume to a skirt, okay, using the slash and spread method, right? So the question now is, what other method can be used to add volume to a garment? I'll be expecting your reply in the comment section. Thank you so much for sticking around, and see you in my next video. Bye.